Okay, a few quick words just to say that sometimes, many times, too many times, legal outcomes and legal systems have nothing to do with justice. Instead, they reflect egos, power struggles, and the need to prove a point by someone just for the sake of it. And why am I saying that? I'm thinking about the recent case involving Yannick Sinner and WADA, the World Anti-Doping Association, the so-called Clostable case. And this case, to me, is a textbook example of a legal process which was driven by stubbornness instead of fairness, instead of real justice. In fact, this process was, in my view, very disproportionate and selective, considering that many other and many more serious cases were ignored or resolved leniently in the past. I'm thinking about the 23 Chinese swimmers which were found to be positive to some performance-enhancing substance a few years ago before the Tokyo Olympics by the Chinese Anti-Doping Association. And there, WADA, what did they do? What did you do, WADA, in that case? Nothing. Nothing. Because there was accidental contamination, but still there was performance-enhancing substances, but since it was accidental contamination, like you said in the Sinner case, because WADA admitted that there was accidental contamination also in the Sinner case, but no performance-enhancing substance, well, the Chinese swimmers were let go. And some of them, they even won medals in the Tokyo Olympics. This is crazy. And even like if I think about the history of tennis, the recent history of tennis, there's a couple of cases, one involving Gasquet, a French tennis player. He tested positive to cocaine a few years ago, which, according to some, is also a performance enhancer in tennis. And he was banned initially by the authority doing the investigation. And then WADA, after the Court of Arbitration in Sport, decided that Gasquet, the ban for Gasquet had to be reduced to only 2 months, if I'm not mistaken, less than the agreement decided with Sinner. Then WADA didn't pursue the case any longer. Same with Cilic, another Croatian tennis player, which was found to be positive in force of due to performance-enhancing substances. And then, in the end, again, WADA didn't do much. But then, why didn't you pursue, WADA, a case against Sinner? Maybe pursuing a case against the #1 ATP tennis player, against the best tennis player in the world, against a player who is under a lot of media attention, is likely to put WADA in the world map, considering all the recent failures by this agency, by this World Anti-Doping Association. I don't know, however, how to call them, to be frank, also considering that they failed all their investigations and all their proceedings in the recent sport history. And yeah, I really wonder why was WADA so focused with Sinner. If there was no intent, if there was no performance benefit, like they say, they admitted it, WADA, also in a public statement, in a press release, that there was no intent and no performance benefit. Still, they brought a full-scale legal battle against Sinner. This isn't, to me, justice. This is no justice. It's just an exercise of power. This is just an exercise of a need to be right, or like to be considered right by someone, to be placed, as I said, in the world map. A waste of legal resources, a waste of people's time, of sport fans, like observers and lawyers. And as a lawyer, to be frank, I'm very shocked about this. Law should be about justice. Law should be about fairness, not about personal battles by some who want to prove a point. Institutional stubbornness, I'm thinking. Like, I became a lawyer because I wanted to pursue justice, not because I want to pursue some, things I'm missing and that I need to prove to the world. I mean, that is really unfair. And I mean, this is not the pursuit of real justice. This is just hijacking institutional powers and bureaucracy because I want to pump my ego and I want to do and carry out selective enforcement. I really don't understand it. And when legal decisions, the worst thing is that when legal decisions are inconsistent, they stop being about fairness and they are about power and control. And then the whole legal system, lawyers, authorities, whoever else, loses credibility. Everyone loses credibility. And also, the sport of tennis, the sport in general, is losing credibility thanks to these no-sense battles, in my view. So, This is an example, this is a clear example to me that many legal systems and that many legal decisions, whether in sports or beyond, can be no sense and driven by wrong or just very stupid and egoistic motives. This is a clear example to me. And then all the consequences of these cases and these behaviors, I'm thinking, about all the media attention and the hateful speeches towards Sinner or towards other people who were assumingly guilty of I don't know what. I'm thinking about Nick Kyrgios, a former tennis player and a Grand Slam finalist. This guy is full of hate. It's just, in my view, just envious, and this just increases the negativity around the sport and around these type of issues. So I find it also no sense at the same time. And the irony in all of this is that Sinner, not because I'm a fan of him, and I think that this guy is really a great example of a growth mindset. That's why I'm a fan of him, not just because he's Italian and I'm really into tennis. He played fair to me. He just played fair. He was very clear. He was crystal clear. He clarified the facts since the beginning, and he followed the rules, and he just did his best to close this case as soon as possible. And still, despite all that, he was dragged into a mess because of egoistic, stupid motives and stubbornness, as I said. So the takeaways is that law, many times, is unfair. It should serve justice, not egos or power trips, but unfortunately sometimes this is the case. And legal decisions may be, in many circumstances, unfortunately, very inconsistent and unfair, and when this happens, they lose credibility. And against this background, I still think that Sinner showed a lot of resilience and class, and far more than the resilience and class of those who pursued the case. So, as I said, as a lawyer, this is quite disappointing, but as an observer, it's just another, let's say, bath of reality into the real world. I also wrote a post on LinkedIn about it. If you want to check it out, I will post it in the comments. To the next one, peace.